Basic Darkroom Techniques. Part 3, Making a Photographic Enlargement. Enlarging is one of the joys of photography. High-quality enlargements can be rewarding reminders of the past. They can be used for wall decorations or as personal gifts. You will enjoy them, knowing that it was your creativity, technical skill, and artistic talent that produced them. An enlargement differs from a contact print in size. A contact print is the same size as the negative. An enlargement is larger than the negative. For this reason, a type of projector, called an enlarger, is used to magnify the image by directing light through the negative onto a sheet of light-sensitive photographic paper. The size of the enlargement is determined by the distance between the enlarger housing, which holds the lens, and the photographic paper. The housing is raised to increase enlargement size and lowered to decrease enlargement size. After the picture size has been set, the image is focused on the paper by moving the lens closer to or further from the negative. This is usually done by turning a focusing knob near the lens. The amount of light projected on the paper is controlled by the aperture ring on the lens and by a timer, which controls the length of time in seconds that the light is on. The negative is held in a negative carrier, which is made to hold a negative of a particular size. This carrier is for a 35mm negative. While not absolutely necessary, an enlarging easel is a convenient means of holding the photographic paper. There are various kinds to fit standard enlarging paper sizes. Most easels cover the paper's edges, forming a white border around the photograph. Some are adjustable so as to fit any size paper. There are two types of enlarging paper: conventional paper-based paper and resin-coated paper. Like film, photographic paper is coated with a light-sensitive emulsion. The base of resin-coated paper is non-absorbent, making it a faster paper to process. Fixing, washing, and drying times are shorter for resin-coated papers. Photographic papers have other characteristics. These are identified on the box labels. Papers are available in a variety of standard sizes. Two papers with different thicknesses are available: double weight and single weight. Glossy and matte surface textures are also available at most photographic stores. For paper processing, you will need the same trays and processing chemicals that are used to make contact prints: a paper developer, an acetic acid stop bath, and a fixer. If you are using conventional paper-based paper, you should also use a hypo-clearing agent before the wash to assure the finished print is free of chemicals. Choosing the negatives you want to enlarge can be done by using a magnifier like this, or by making contact prints of all the negatives and studying them. While still small, the fact that the pictures are positives does help in selection. As you examine each picture on the contact sheet, use a white card with a small hole cut out to frame one picture at a time. Sometimes you cannot decide whether a negative will make a good print until you actually make an enlargement. So let's choose a negative which seems to have a broad enough density range to make a print with good contrast. Place the negative, emulsion side down, in the negative carrier. Hold the negative and the carrier under the enlarging light to check for any dust. It's much easier to clean the negative now than to spot the print later. Insert the negative carrier into the enlarger head and place a sheet of regular white paper on the easel. This is only a focusing sheet. Turn on the enlarger lamp and turn off the room lights. Adjust the enlarging housing up and down so that the image desired fits the paper size selected for the final print. While focusing the image on the paper, the enlarging lens should be set to the largest aperture opening, the smallest f number, which is f4.5 on this particular lens. Carefully check that the focus of the image is perfect on the sheet of paper you've been using for these trial adjustments. When you are satisfied that the image is in sharp focus, turn on the safe light and open the box of photographic enlarging paper. Cut a sheet of enlarging paper into 2-inch strips. One strip is used as a test strip to determine correct exposure. The other strips are put back in the box and saved for future use. Lay the strip, emulsion side up, on the easel over the most important part of the projected image. Set the aperture to f8 to assure sharp focus. Set the timer to 5 seconds. Cover 2/3 of the test strip with a black card and activate the automatic timer. Move the card, covering only 1/3 of the test strip, and expose for another 5 seconds. Remove the card and expose the whole strip for another 5 seconds. The test strip can now be developed. Start the timer and slide the strip into the developer. Rock the tray to constantly move fresh developer over the strip. When the 2-minute development time is up, remove the strip and drain it. Agitate it in the stop bath for 15 seconds. Drain. And place it in the fixer and agitate for 2 minutes. Rinse in water and place on a clean sheet of cardboard. The strip is still laden with fixer, so don't put it where it might contaminate other materials. Examine the strip under normal room light to determine the best exposure. Note the difference between the 5, 10, and 15-second sections. Exposure time of 10 seconds appears to be about right in this test. Set 10 seconds on the timer. Turn out the white light and turn on the safe light before opening the paper box. Place a sheet of enlarging paper on the easel and expose the paper. Process the paper until the image appears perfect. After fixing, rinse in the tray of water for 1 minute. Then, treat in a hypo-clearing solution for 2 to 4 minutes. Wash the print for 30 minutes. Conventional paper-based papers may be dried on an electric dryer. Wipe off excess water with a sponge, then dry the print. Processing times for resin-coated papers are a bit different. Fix for 2 minutes, wash for 2 minutes, and do not use a hypo-clearing solution. Resin-coated papers can be air-dried after sponging off the excess water. Most electric dryers are too hot and may melt the resin coating. Closely examine the finished print. Ask yourself these questions. Is the print too dark? If you carefully made a test strip, it shouldn't be. However, sometimes one forgets to readjust the aperture. Is the print too light? If so, check both the aperture and timer settings and make a new print. Does the print have good contrast? If not, you'll be told how to correct this problem later on. If the print is neither too dark nor too light and has good contrast, check it for dust spots and scratches. These may be eliminated by using a fine brush and spotting material. This technique is very effective for prints with dust or scratch problems, but it usually takes practice before a student can do it well. If the density of the print is correct, and only one area is too light, you may want to make a new print and burn in the light section. Burning in means giving that section of the print an additional exposure while covering the rest of the print with your shaped hands or an opaque card with a hole cut in it. Keep the hand or card in motion during the exposure to avoid unnatural density changes. The card shown here for burning in an image is a commercial type. You don't need anything so fancy. If most of the print has correct density and only a section is too dark, you might want to make a new print and dodge the dark section. Dodging means covering the dark section during part of the exposure. Use a dodging tool or a piece of cardboard attached to a wire. Keep it moving in a vertical or horizontal motion during the exposure to avoid unnatural density changes. If the overall print is a muddy gray or has too high a contrast, you might need to change paper grades. A number 2 paper works well with a normal negative, one that has both dark and light density and many midtones between. For a soft negative, low contrast, like this one, use a higher grade paper, number 3 or number 4 or even number 6. For a hard negative, high contrast, like this one, use a number 1 paper. Some papers are multi-grade, but these variable contrast papers must be used with a filter placed between the enlarging lens and the paper. Enlarging is enjoyable. When you have finished a print and have matted and mounted it, you can hang it on the wall and say, "I did that."